Alrighty, I would like to welcome for the first part of our uh, program tonight. I'd like to welcome Yoli Moy. She is chair of our Philippine American Chamber of Commerce, Region 4 Central, which is San Antonio and Austin. Yoli?
Yes, thank you so much, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you all tonight. Thanks for coming. With the hunger crisis in the Philippines, especially due to the pandemic, PACC Texas Central saw the need to raise funds for our Kababayans, thus creating the Project Community Pantry. Toward the end of 2020, nearly a quarter of Filipinos were living in poverty, surviving on about $3 a day, according to the World Bank. Many people can only afford to eat once a day. This economic turmoil began last March 2020 when the pandemic started and when the Philippines had strict lockdown that lasted for months. For many of these families, the fear of coronavirus will never compare for the more acute daily threat of hunger. The Philippines Community Pantries are a philanthropic initiative that has spread across the country since mid-April of this year to feed the poor and hungry as COVID-19 cases continue to surge. The founder of this initiative is Ana Patricia Non. She sought to help those unable to source food during the onslaught of a city lockdown. From a single bamboo cart outside her house in Maginhawa, Quezon City, to today with more than 6,700 community pantries operating all over the Philippines. These community kitchens, as they are also called, have helped counter a growing hunger crisis across the country. These community kitchens are bringing communities together, giving hungry families the staples they need to survive. In this project, PACC Texas Central Region identified 3 beneficiaries representing the 3 regions in the Philippines. For Luzon, we have Our Lady of Lourdes Parish Church in Bicol, Albay. For the Visayas, we have the Redemptorist Missionaries in Tacloban, Leyte. And for Mindanao, we have the Holy Cross of Malita, Inc., Davao del Sur. Our goal for this community pantry fundraiser is $5,000. So far, we have raised around $1,500. Hopefully, we can reach our goal or even more in time before Christmas so we can help our unfortunate countrymen. So please join us in our efforts to help the Philippines fight hunger and poverty. And now we would like to invite you all to watch a video showing images of our beneficiaries in the Philippines and how they are trying to alleviate hunger through these ongoing community pantries. April, please. Thank you, April.
You're welcome po.
Okay, now I'd like to introduce our Director of Humanitarian Projects, Dr. Nelson Tuazan, who will go from here. Dr. Tuazan?
Thank you, Yoli. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I hope you were inspired and touched by the images of our Kababayans in that moving video. I know as Filipino Americans, we have been involved in many civic and social activities in the United States. Not unlike many of the people joining us tonight, the Central Texas region has been participating in many social events as well. We have raised funds for the San Antonio Food Bank. We have participated in COVID activities. We have participated in health fairs. But as they say, charity begins at home. Tonight, as we have seen the struggles and tragedies of our kababayans in the Philippines, we can transform their lives and make this into triumphs. So you have heard about the 3 beneficiaries that we have. We are covering the 3 major islands of the Philippines from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Tonight is about a plea to all of us. You know, as we reach deep into our hearts, as we reach deep into our souls, as we think about our kababayans, we would like you to reach deep into your pockets by donating to these 2 noble causes tonight. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Elsie Cortez, who is our Central Texas Treasurer, who will present the first beneficiary. Elsie?
Hello, everybody. This is Elsie Cortez, and representing the island of Luzon recipient for this community pantry is the Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church located in Tabaco, Albay. And this parish is under the Archdiocese of Legazpi, Albay, Philippines. And responding to the call of time and needs, Our Lady of Lourdes Parish, under the leadership of Father Paul Ocfimia, has been helping the poorest of the poor even before the COVID pandemic. So during the pandemic, the gospel values were rediscovered with new and vibrant energies. And in the Philippines, sometime in April and onwards, many organize the so-called community pantry, where everyone can take and food supplies and other goods to help the poor. So this Paris community in Tabaco, Albay, they call their project Paghandurog kan Lourdes. Paghandurog is a Bicol term that evolves heartfelt concern, compassion, care, sharing generosity, and pag-ibig. So it is a heartfelt concern for the most vulnerable and less fortunate members of their community. And Paghandurog kang Lourdes Community Pantry have distributed lots of foods, groceries, other goods, food packs to the indigent families, including the elderly and children and even single parents in their community. As you know, the Philippine government have provided only up to a maximum for this year, 2021, they only provided a maximum of 4,000 pesos, which is less than $100 this year for each of the low-income family, and which is not enough to even buy their daily needs. So their community pantry essentially targets the Filipino family who have gotten used to not knowing when their next meal will be. So a group of barangay family there, the spouses were reporting that their husbands' daily pay of about $15 have been cut to less than half since the pandemic began. Imagine that. So with their community pantry, they are consoled to put into practice what the Gospel of St. John said, Caritas Christe urget nos, meaning the love of Christ urges us on. This community was also hardly hit by the Typhoon Rolly sometime in October last year. And this typhoon have really left the city and the province of Albay in great disarray and unimaginable devastation. Paghandog kang Lourdes Community Pantry continue on to help even with that devastation of Typhoon Rolly. They even went on to another island in San Miguel, island of San Miguel. They traveled also to small barrios nearby, searching for families isolated by landslides and debris from the Mayon volcano. So Paghandog kan Lourdes Community Pantry brought to these neglected villages relief goods, groceries, water, clothing, medicines, and even roofing materials. So Father Paul was also letting them know that with faith, hope, they are not alone nor abandoned during these trying times. Paghandog kang Lourdes Community Pantry is now low on supplies to provide these poor families and to feed them and provide them their basic food supplies. And few weeks from now, we will celebrate Christmas and they will celebrate Christmas over there. So Father Paul and the Community Pantry Project of Paghandurog kang Lourdes, with your support and generosity, they would be able to bring to this community enough food supplies and other goods, the warmth and love and big smiles of whatever we can help them out. So Father Paul, thank you in advance for considering and supporting their community project, Paghandurog kang Lourdes. So please open your hearts and mind to help this humble endeavor project. Open your pocketbook and donate now. Your human compassion and solidarity that will continue to bring out the best of the Filipinos during the worst of times. Again, please donate now. Thank you and God bless you all. Salamat po.
Elsie, thank you very much. I don't know about you, but with the presentation that you did, we truly need the help that we can get from everyone who is listening tonight. Call your friends, help our Kababayans.
Yes.
There are some questions in the chat box, so to make sure that we answer them all, our chair will be monitoring the questions. And if we have time at the end of the presentation, we will answer those. If not, we will post them on our website. So we have heard from the beneficiary from Luzon. Now let's hear from our chair, Yoli Moy, who will present the next beneficiary coming from Visayas. Yoli?
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Thank you so much. Our second beneficiary for the Visayas is the Redemptorist Missionaries of Tacloban, Leyte. The Redemptorist Church, which is the parish priest, Father Edwin Bacaltos, wrote me a letter regarding this community pantry. Of course, I reached out first to my friends there. And then in turn, Father Edwin Bacaltos, the parish priest of the Redemptorist Church, wrote me this letter. He said that ever since the Redemptorist missionaries has 23 barangays in the parish in which majority of the people are poor. Even before the community pantry phenomenon, the parish has been giving food to thousands of people who fall in line at the Redemptorist grounds to get food donated by generous parishioners and individuals. The mission targets the very poor, the elderly, persons with disability, and people who have no income at all, especially in this pandemic. At the beginning of this crisis, when the country was under lockdown, they distributed food packs every month. They also distributed face masks, face shields, and disinfectants to all poor families. The parish is very dependent on the generosity of their parishioners and churchgoers. Thus, we saw the need for us here to raise funds to support this ongoing endeavor of the Redemptorist missionaries of Tacloban. This community pantry program that they have, they plan to open more pantries in other barangays to help the needy. The Archdiocese of Bacolod, where the Redemptorist parish is under, requested that all parish community pantry should be named Caritas Kindness Station. Hence, they no longer call it community pantry, but Caritas Kindness. The parish actually had a Caritas Kindness last June 18th. That's the third, the first one was April 27th. The second was May 8th. And last June 18th, they had also another community pantry. And it will be ongoing. That's why we see the need for us to help them, so they can help also our Kababayans. That's all. If we can have the donation CR code, please. Yes, if you want to donate, let us know. It goes to the, there's a QR code there, or you can put it in our chat, those who want to pledge to donate, and let us know. If you are going to have a check donation, please make it to PACC Texas Foundation, Inc. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yoli. Now for our final presenter, I'd like to call on Dr. Danette Bloom, our co-chair for the humanitarian services in our region, to present the beneficiary from Mindanao. Dr. Bloom.
Thank you so much, Kuya Nelson, and good evening, everyone. Happy Friday to all of you, and it's an honor for me to present about the community served by the Holy Cross in Davao del Sur. So in April 2021, the Business Mirror reports a number of Filipino families experiencing involuntary hunger hit a record of 21.1% for the whole of 2020. And this was a survey conducted by the social weather stations. In July 13, 2021, the Rattler reports that 4.2 million Filipino families stay hunger as of May 2021. Hunger is reportedly highest in Mindanao, with an estimated 1.2 million families experiencing not having food at least once in the past 3 months. And this is what they call the involuntary hunger. So when we think about that, think of the times that we go through Starbucks, we have our extra cake, we have our extra ice cream, our snacks, and think about our brothers and sisters in the Philippines who are in one of the news. They don't even fear about COVID at all because they're hungry. They don't know where the next food comes from. So I think that's a reality, unfortunately, for a lot of our brothers and sisters. And this The Holy Cross of Malita are conducted by the presentation, Sisters of the Presentation of Mary. I've come to know of this organization because they have a school where I grew up, in the town I grew up in. And by way of my niece, who was one of their students, my mother supported their endeavors. And I knew from the get-go, even before COVID, that they were doing weekend feedings and families, especially by the seashore, those who have lost their livelihood or lost the breadwinner from the earthquake in Bohol, that they were providing them with food. And by way of that, they have asked me to sponsor some of their students to help them complete their high school education. The sister who led that group actually was moved to Davao, and we kept contact. And when our Texas region decided to have a community pantry, by the grace of God, it was just about the same time, by no stimulus whatsoever, Sister Sozi sent me a message in Facebook and telling me about the community pantry. And so I brought that up to our chair of the board, that, you know, there is this organization. And I think that was one of the questions in the chat, like, how were these organizations chosen? So we specifically chose organizations that we know have existing pantry and we could trust, because we know that some trust issues can be an issue with donations to the Philippines. So we know them and they have a community. So you can see here in the photo, it actually, this Holy Cross Presentation of Mary Sisters have adopted a community. They have in Malita, Davao Occidental, where they adopted 2 small schools of indigenous people. So these are people high up in the mountains in Lebleb and Kiasan, which are 2 places part of the Malita Highlands. And you can see this, that there are some people who are in uniforms. As we know, there are some unrest there. And you see that their school actually is like bamboo slats. So you can imagine what it looks like when it rains. And you can see that about 207 students within this community. So 207, and then in one of the pictures, the one where they are smiling, you know how we smile a lot with photos, there are actually people who, there are the teachers who were unable to cross because the river was flooding so high, but they still have smiles on their face. And that's one of the things that we see about us, you know, we smile a lot, although we are in pain and we are hungry. So the sister wrote to me that they have adopted another poor barangay. So, you know, their mission is about providing to those who are lost, to those who are hungry, and to those who are in need. One of the things that has happened, I was updated by the sister, is that they have actually adopted a community program. And I kind of like that direction, because I've always learned from my dad, who worked for the local government, you know, don't give me fish, teach me how to fish. And I think having that community garden would enable to have a sustainable means of people, instead of just accepting donations all the time, they will be able to grow their own food so that they have a more sustainable and more nutritious food that would come their way. And so certainly your donations would come a long way, a sustainable way. I'm hoping that would persist even beyond the time, that period that you will be donating. So I would like to get a quote from the sisters. It says, this project for the poor is a reach out program to the least, the last, and the lost, and is one of the advocacies of Mary Revere's Heart and Hand program for the poor. In response to Jesus' words, who said, I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. We had come up with a project, Mary Revere's Heart and Hand. For many years in his mission, we have discovered a lot of indigenous people, children, who have no chance to go to college due to poverty. They don't have anything to eat. We pity them so much. This is the reason why we decided to put up a project for the poor in this mission area. So I hope in your heart of hearts that you do consider donating. You know, $100, even $50 would go a long way in feeding people for a long period of time. As you know, the money that we have here costs more than what we can buy here in the United States. So I thank you in advance for consideration, and I hope you do donate. Thank you.
Dr. Bloom, thank you very much for that very moving testimony. So this is not the end of our presentation. This is actually just the beginning of our efforts. So you've heard from Ms. Elsie Cortez, our chair, Yoli, and Donette. So regardless of where we come from in the Philippines, as you could see, we wanted to present places from all over the Philippines, from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. You might be tempted to donate to the place where we came from, and that's okay. We want you to commit to something. As I've said earlier, as we reach deep into our hearts and reach deep into our souls, let's reach deep into our pockets tonight. You know, yung mga Pilipino, marami tayong gustong gawin. You know, we said, oh, I want to do this. Our intentions are good. But let me remind you what Oscar Wilde said. The smallest of the intention is what we need so that we can help others, especially in their times of need. So with that, I want to thank you again. Please donate. Donate until it hurts, because it will help our Kababayans. Thank you again for all of you who are here tonight. And I give it back to our chair, Rowena Waters. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Yoli, Danette, and I am so
Elsie.
sorry. Elsie.
Yeah.
Okay, the least, the last, and the lost. That was very moving. Very well done, Region 4. Very well done. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. We have questions, I am sure, but please hold off with those questions. We are going to pull them together. And at the end of the next segment, we are going to bring those questions up and then give you the answers that we need. All right, for the second part, I'd like to introduce everyone to our friends in COFAC. Now, COFAC's head is Jerry Palon, who's our president, and tonight he is with Joseph, who's on the board, and also president of one of the chambers under COFAC. The initiative was for vaccines. And I would like to talk about it because it's a definite need that we have, but I think Jerry is he could explain it better to you. So I'm just going to transfer this whole thing to Jerry, and here you go. Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, thank you so much, Rowena. Good evening, guys. Good evening to our fellow Kababayans and colleagues in the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce of Texas. We have been very strong partners since you guys joined the coalition in 2019 through the efforts of the leadership team of PACC Texas, headed by Mr. Gas Mercado. He's the previous state executive director, and now Rowena is at the helm of the PACC Texas. And I'd like to commend the efforts of PACC Texas as a whole, the whole chamber, specifically with the Central Region leading the project on helping our Kababayans raise funds to for the pantry, community pantries in the selected areas in the Philippines, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And we are also very glad that you gave us time and opportunity on behalf of the Coalition of Filipino-American Chambers of Commerce. This is a 24 chamber organizations all over the country, reaching as far as the East Coast, Georgia, we have Florida, we have, of course, Texas, or in Texas. We also have in Arizona, we have in Colorado, we have in Oregon, the state of Hawaii, Maui, and we have the rest of all the other chambers in the Southern California. We started the coalition in 2018 with only 5 chambers. That includes FACC Orange County, which is now headed by Mr. Joseph. Joseph is my partner here in the Save Lives campaign. And in a matter of 3 years, we managed to grow our national organization into 24. And we are still counting on the succeeding or the future chambers that will realize the value of being part of a national coalition. And I'm very proud to have PACC Texas as one of the strongest partners we have in COFAC. So with that, related to what you're doing right now in Central Region, we are also helping our kababayans in the Philippines through donation of vaccines and COVID-19 testing kits. And if I may start with our presentation by just sharing with you a beautiful song, a video that we produced, customized for our Filipino kababayans. And we'll be sharing 2 videos, actually, one on the start and one at the end of our presentation. So hang on tight there, and I hope you will enjoy listening to our music or video. Hold on.
And nearly 1.7 million infections. In an attempt to slow the spread of COVID, the capital Manila has been placed under the tightest quarantine curve.
Situations in most hospitals haven't changed. This is by far the longest wave of infections.
Something happened to the world we're used to. We've been through pain and fear and people dying too. We're safe, but not happy, 'cause we know that you are not yet okay. A call we can't turn away. Together we can win this like we always do. Even the smallest helping hand could make someone smiling too. Our faith Just take my hand.
Okay, thank you. I hope you like our video presentation. It was really touching when we were doing this, and we want to share whatever the conditions right now in the Philippines is not as nice looking as what we have here in the US. So even if there are some pronouncements by the Philippine media that they have sufficient supply of vaccines, the numbers will not tell a lie. We rely on the international figures, which I'll be sharing later on with you through a slide presentation. Hold on. Okay, and I will slideshow and beginning. Okay, so that's the first one that we have shown, the first video. And this is just a presentation of all the various chambers that we have in the coalition, 24 organizations. And this is the project actually launched by FACC Foundation. We have a 501c3 charitable foundation that we have set up in 2019, just specifically to take care of charitable projects of the Chambers of Commerce under the coalition. And we call the project Save Lives, Donate Vaccines to the Philippines. And when this was developed, this flyer, there were just only 10% of people have been vaccinated. But at this point in time, I think it's about 26% already. But still, there's still a sizable number out there, especially in the provincial areas, who are not vaccinated. And this project is headed by our international VP for International Trade, Ms. Ellen Samson. She is actually also the president of the FACC Foundation. And just to bring you into the light of what you have seen on the video, since the pandemic started, we have already confirmed cases of about 2.8 million Filipinos in the Philippines who were afflicted with COVID-19. This is based on, you can actually see a regular update actually every day. You can see at cofact.org we have a tab which you can just press and see what's the numbers now, of the Philippines as compared with other Southeast Asian nations. And the average daily cases of COVID affliction has now gone down to 3,155 per day. But this is expected to go up again once the government releases the quarantine and also the restrictions on the modified quarantine, right? And then the Christmas season is coming up. There would be more festivities. We hope there would be no increase in the daily cases. But that's the risk that we all have to take. And the deaths so far has increased already to 44,085 Filipinos died of COVID-19 related cases since the early part of 2020. And just to give you an overview of our fundraising project, we intend to donate the money which will be purchasing the much needed COVID-19 vaccines and testing kits for our Filipino kababayans in the Philippines, and to fund the information dissemination, the importance of vaccination. You know what, even in the Philippines, there's still some sectors of the population who don't believe in the vaccination, just what like happened in the US. No? And coupled with the problems already of shortage of vaccines. But coupled with that are also what we need are testing kits. Even if the population has been vaccinated, majority, we still need a constant test of ourselves because there were new variants coming into the country. So we are giving our beneficiaries of the cash donations that we will be gathering altogether and donating to the Philippine companies or private corporations that will be handling the vaccine purchase and distribution. They will also be buying these testing kits for the use of the marginalized workers in the Philippines. Now, we targeted a noble target goal of $250,000 because since we are doing this on a nationwide scale through the distribution channel we have with the 24 organizations, we envision to just at least raise $250,000 until the end of the campaign. And so far, I'm happy to announce that we have about 55,000 already in total donations and pledges, but still not enough to really cover and get the donations of buying vaccines. No? Because the 250,000 on the average cost of $25 per vaccine, that's only 10,000 units of vaccines. Assuming they buy Johnson & Johnson, which is only one dose, that's about 10,000 people that we can help through the cash donations. It's not even creating a dent on the real need of the Philippines. But once again, this is just a gesture of our goodwill to our Filipino kababayans in the Philippines. And we are not here to launch a campaign to solve the problem of COVID-19 in the Philippines. So we are not that superhero that we can cover 80 or 50% of the requirements. It's just 10,000 vaccines that we are trying to raise for saving lives. And the period of campaign has started since August 10 when we had this memorandum of understanding signed between COFAC, FACC Foundation, and the Philippine counterparts, which is the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry and its affiliate organizations. And the campaign will finish by December 15. That's a little more than 1 month to go, but we are hopeful that we can generate more funds towards the end of the period and through the help of various partners that we have in the coalition. We are also reaching out to other PhilAm organizations aside from the 24 chambers. And just to tell you about what happened in the past couple of weekends, and we had this picnic of the Pangasinan Brotherhood on a weekend. We were just invited there without any intention of really soliciting donations, but we were called upon by the president. And he felt the noble effort that we are doing for save lives, and he called me, and I spoke together with Ellen in front of the Pangasinan Brotherhood, and he just distributed through the hat, through his hat. We're able to gather $400 in donations. That's really very touching on our part. Even if it's a small amount, it doesn't matter. What is important is that your willingness to help our needy kababayans in the Philippines. And with that, I'd like to call on my partner, Mr. Joseph Joseph. He's the president of FACC, or Philippine American Chamber of Commerce, Orange County. And also at the same time, he's our COFAC Vice President for Ways and Means. Joseph, take it away.
Thank you very much, Cherry, and thank you once again for having us. Now we dive into the frequently asked questions. How will the cash donations be handled after the termination of the project? Total net funds generated after termination of the project will be remitted by the FACC Foundation to the beneficiary organizations in the Philippines who will handle the purchase of vaccines or COVID-19 testing kits. Who are the recipient organizations that will receive cash donations from the FACC Foundation? Here are the three. There's actually three big private nonprofit organizations. We have of FACC Foundation, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, PCCI, the Philippine Exporters Confederations of the Philippines, PhilExport, and the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, ECOP. PCCI, being the biggest among the three, was designated by its two affiliate organizations to be the representatives of the three organizations in receiving the funds from FACC Foundation, Inc. What brands of vaccines will be purchased by PCCI? The top brands, PCCI, are AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J vaccines. PCCI, in collaboration with COFAC and the FACC Foundation, will also look into purchasing directly from COVAX facility. Who will administer the vaccination procedures for the employees and families of the three recipient Philippine organizations? PCCI will determine the right agency to administer the vaccination process for their marginalized workers. What guidelines will be used by PCCI in the selection, prioritization of who gets vaccinated first? In the distribution and prioritization of who gets vaccinated first, PCCI will follow the framework of Philippine National Deployment and Vaccination Plan as adopted from the Universal Framework of the World Health Organization, or WHO, Strategic Advisory Group of Experts, SAGE, on immunization, policies, and procedures. How much can I donate as an individual? We set up the donation tab option based on quantity of vaccines rather than the dollar value amount. One dosage of vaccine is equivalent to an average cost of $25 per. You can donate as many vaccines you want and as frequent as you wish to donate within the 4.5-month duration of the campaign. How and where do I give my donations? One of the questions in the chat. You can donate to the Save Lives, Donate Vaccines for the Philippines project by clicking the link cofac.org/save-lives. Up to when can I make my donation? The crowdfunding project has commenced last August 10th and will terminate on December 15, 2021.
Thank you, Joseph, for the frequently asked questions. I'm sure there's still other questions that we may not have covered in this FAQ, but please feel free to ask this once we go into the question and answer forum. But with that, I'd like to again share with you another video that we have developed for this campaign. Hold on.
And nearly 1.7 million.
That's the first one. I have to get to my second video. Sorry for that. Let me share now the screen.
We have traveled far and wide celebrate.
Start.
We have traveled far and wide, celebrated lives up and down right, survived every challenge on every side. But we never gave up, never gave up, and always tried. We are safe, but not happy, 'cause we know you're still not okay. Let us sing you a pulse. Help is on the way. Help is on the way. We will win this battle. Though the world seems to rattle, just hold on, keep the faith, have the courage to move on. Counters on the way, together we'll find a way. Counters on the way, together we'll find a way. Counters on the way, together we'll find a way. Counters on the way, together we'll find a way.
That's it. Thank you so much, guys, for giving us time, the opportunity to share with you the Save Lives campaign. And we look forward to work in collaboration also with PACC Texas. We'll try to share, Yoli, your call for help for the community pantries.
Thank you, Jerry.
Send it to me, send it to me, the link, and
I will.
whatever flyer you have, so
Mhm.
we can share that also to the rest of the COFAC partner organizations.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
You're
We'll do
welcome.
that.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Yoli, and all your teams. There is definite need. Its lives are at stake from hunger, from disease, and we have a lot here. Even if we do have our own issues right here and challenges, we are still more blessed. So I think it's incumbent upon us to share. All right, let's read some questions here. Let's see if I can pull out this chat. And if I'm going to read it from whoever asked the first question, but if I miss something, please let me know. Okay, let's see. I think the first one was from Greta. Greta, are you still here? Okay, I think Greta's question was, what was the criteria? And this is for Yoli. What was the criteria for selecting the beneficiaries in those 3 regions? And I'm going to leave that to Yoli's team to answer.
Okay, thank you, Greta, for your question. Actually, when we were having our board meeting and we were trying to have this community pantry, 3 of the board members, including myself, come from those places. I know there are 6,700 plus community pantries all over the Philippines. But since we, the 3 of us, Elsie in Albay, Danette in Davao, and myself in Tacloban, we know these beneficiaries. So we will make sure that whatever funds we send to them are put into good use. We cannot just be sending them to any other medium, you know what I mean? We will be sending this to the organizations, the beneficiaries that we identified with. We had to have one from Luzon, and we had to have one from the Visayas and Mindanao, so it will be equally distributed. There won't be any, and the fact that the 3 of us know these people, for sure this, the funds that will be sent to them will be put in good use. Thank you, Greta, for your question.
Greta, does
Thank
that
you.
answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now the other questions are about how to send funds. And I think links have been showed in this presentation. This will be recorded and posted. But at the same time, we are noting those who are here. And if you had registered, then we have a record of your email address. So April will be able to send you the link for both. We only have two links. One is to the foundation, to the Philippine PAC Texas Foundation, which is for the community pantry. And the other link is with COFAC for the Save Lives for the vaccine. So those are only two links that you will remember. But the thing about the Save Lives is once you make your contribution, there is a field wherein you will identify which chamber you're affiliated with. Please make sure to put PACC Texas. That way we can track. Okay. Does anyone have any other question or any other comment? Yes, Jerry.
Rowena. Yeah, in addition to what you said about donation on the tab, putting your chamber affiliation. If you're not a chamber, it's also okay. You just put your address. We can identify that's going to be coming from Texas. And also, if in case you need a 501c3 certification, you get a tax deductible. You just press the check mark, no, on the register on the donation tab. So we will be able to email to you the receipt of your donation. So everything is all accounted for and everything is transparent as far as our financial records are concerned. Thank you.
Okay, the other thing I have to mention, if there are no more questions, is that we have community leaders out here. We have PhilCon, we have Unipro, we have the Philippine Nurses Association of both San Antonio and North Texas. And Lou, I think the Hiligay Non is also here, and I think a few more. Now,
Yeah, we have.
Okay, now what I would like to suggest is if you would like to partner with us for any of these initiatives, please let us know. And we will gladly work with you and let your members know more about what's happening. It's almost Thanksgiving and Christmas. And these are good projects to work with. Fills our hearts with joy to be able to give. All righty, does anyone have any other comment, any other question? Okay, I think that's it. Jerry, any last word? Joseph?
Yeah, we're so glad and happy that you invited us. In case you need flyers, I'm sure Yoli, I owe you a bundle of those flyers in case you will have in-person events. Barcode is also there. I'll be mailing it definitely the hard copies, but you can also I'll also give you a PDF file in case you need it immediately. Thank you.
Okay. Jerry, this is Elsie. I typed a question, but it went directly to you, Jerry. Have you read it?
No, please feel free to ask. Because I think it was already. Can you?
I was asking on this project. How do you distribute all those vaccines, and when are you planning to take that to the Philippines, and how would you distribute that according to, like say, how many in Bicol region? How, because like Bicol region is really hit right now with surges of COVID of Delta plus. COVID, and they need the vaccine so bad over there. And I know in different parts of the country.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Sorry, I didn't get your name again.
Elsie Cortez, Jerry.
Elsie, sorry. So Elsie, the arrangements that we have with PCCI, they have marginalized workers all over the country. Those three private organizations have member companies who are part of those three organizations. And our priority is to distribute them through these organizations and the employees that are located outside of Metro Manila would be the priority, because we believe that the Philippine government has focused their efforts of distributing the vaccines in the Greater Manila area. Those are the NCR region, and the far-flung areas in the Visayas, Mindanao are also not really getting the vaccine. So we will prioritize this. As soon as we get all this money by December 15, we'll make a partial submission remittance to PCCI. And we asked them, we requested them to submit a distribution plan as well for the number of vaccines that they'll be able to purchase and what kind of prioritization will they follow in terms of distribution. But we can foresee that our campaign will still continue beyond December 15. We'll be probably relaunching this because we haven't achieved our desired goal of 250,000. So this is just the beginning, and we're starting to get some momentum from our town hall presentations, from our social media blasting on Facebook, and all the communities are just now being aware, the Filipino-American organizations, through the efforts of our leaders in the various chambers to connect with a lot of social and charitable cultural organizations all over the country. Remember, we have 4.5 million Filipino Americans here in the US, and just getting $1 per PhilAm, it's already $4.5 million. It's not difficult to raise 250,000. It's just really creating that awareness level across the country that we need to help our kababayans here. This is a private initiative. This is nothing to worry about us giving money to the Philippine government. We are not doing that. We have a direct transaction or direct dealing with a private, non-profit Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry in the Philippines. Thank you, Elsie.
Thank you.
Okay, if any other question, any other concern? All righty. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for
And,
having us.
a happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to everyone. Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Bye.
organizing po.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much,
Thank
Rowena.
you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everyone.